everybody, and welcome to DIYing to Craft. My name is Sabrina, and I'm so happy you're here. If you're finding my channel for the first time, I hope you'll stay connected by liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking around during my hiatus from crafting. While I was offline, my husband and I relocated to our home state of Michigan. Everything about this transition was expedited, so my primary focus had to be the move. Now that we're here and somewhat settled into our rental home, I'm excited to get back to crafting. My first project was to create my workspace. Unfortunately, I didn't record the process, but basically all I did was connect this wire shelf unit, which I've had for years but I believe is still available in stores, to a scrap chunk of wood with 4 U-type brackets that my husband 3D printed. Here's the finished product. With that done, I was able to turn my attention to repurposing some of the cardboard boxes used during the move. We did give away many of the reusable boxes, but I kept a few for strategic crafting purposes. This empty wall is where I'll be displaying my next project. I was inspired by Pinterest and several wall art pieces. I started off by tracing several circles of varying sizes. I used items found around my craft room and kitchen to create the circles. They ranged in size from largest at 15 inches to smallest at just under 5 inches. Once I had what I wanted, I started cutting out the circles. I used a box cutter, and I would recommend a new blade if you choose to recreate this project. There were a total of 8 rounds used in the finished product. However, this image shows 9. One of the small circles I decided not to use. I then covered each round with either shelf liner, glitter vinyl, or sticky tiles. Most were purchased at Dollar Tree, but a couple of the shelf liners were purchased from Amazon or Walmart. Here you'll see me cutting relief slits in the shelf liner so that I can wrap it around the circle. This makes the cleanest edge for the round. Unfortunately, this adhesive isn't very strong, so I did have to come in with some masking tape and go around all of the edges to keep the shelf liner attached to the cardboard. I had to do this for every round that I put shelf liner and the vinyl sticky glitter paper. This is a pretty repetitious process, so I don't show you on all of the rounds. I did it on the first one. I'm doing it using the vinyl sticky glitter paper. It's not really shelf liner. It's more of like a cricket type vinyl, just really kind of flimsy, but pretty and glittery. For the sticky tile, I just measured it out the way I wanted it, stuck it down, and then cut it out. For the smaller one, I just found a spot that I liked, cut out kind of a bigger square, and then once I stuck it to the circle, I went in and cut it a little bit more detailed. Here I'm using a piece of glitter cardstock and some stick glue just to keep it on. Now here's all the circles and covered. I decided that the edges on 3 of the rounds were a little too rough. It's the ones that didn't have the shelf liner on it, so they weren't wrapped. So I went ahead and glued on this thin ribbon that I've had in my stash forever. So I just glued it around the edges. I'll do it on this small one. I do it on the slightly larger one that I used the sticky tile on. And I just used hot glue. You could use whatever glue works best for you. I felt the hot glue was going to work for this project. It did get kind of hot because it's hot glue, so I got my little finger protectors. I find it a little awkward to work with those finger protectors on, so you'll see me taking off and putting it back on. And then for the white cardstock one, I didn't have any white thin ribbon, so I just decided to paint the edge with some chalk paint. And because I was certain I was going to splatter it everywhere, I got an extra piece of cardboard just to set it on so that as I painted it, I didn't have to kind of balance it in the air. I could lean it against something and not splatter. And now I'm going to glue them together. I started out using the super glue. It's the gel super glue from the Dollar Tree. And I thought it worked well, but as I went on, I decided that hot glue was going to be just as good of a hold because this is going to be in my house. It's going to be on a wall that doesn't get any sun. So I figured the hot glue would be sufficient. And it was easier than trying to use the super glue. Arranged them the way I wanted. You might have seen I had my level in there just to kind of keep a straight edge, and glued it all together, flipped it over, and then I ran around all the edges with hot glue just for some extra hold. I don't know if it's actually going to do anything, but it seemed to give it a little bit more. And then just for some extra strength and hold, I bust out the masking tape again, and I taped every round to each other. Might be a little bit of overkill, but I didn't want it to fall apart. Once I felt that it was all stuck together, I got a piece of twine that I had in my stash, originally purchased in a spool from the Dollar Tree. So I hot glued it on one side and also used some masking tape, hot glued it on the other side, covered it again with some masking tape, trimmed off the edge, and that's how I'm going to hang it. There's the finished product on the wall. Thank you for watching. It's good to be crafting again. Hope to share more crafts with you real soon. Help me grow here on YouTube by liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Talk to you soon.